It started innocently, or at least I convinced myself of that. At the firm, he was magnetic, confident, polished, and infinitely patient with everyone. His intelligence wasn't intimidating. It was intoxicating. Our interactions were professional at first, polite and precise, but subtle glances, lingering pauses, and the occasional brush of his hand in passing built a tension I couldn't ignore. Every time he explained a legal point, I found myself studying the curve of his jaw, the calm steadiness of his voice. I knew crossing the line was dangerous. I knew boundaries existed for a reason, and yet the thrill whispered seductively that maybe life wasn't meant to stay within lines drawn for us. Our first private conversation outside work started innocuously. Coffee in the corner cafe, nothing more than small talk about a case. But the way he listened, really listened, made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt in years. My husband was kind, yes, but in the mundanity of married life, he had stopped noticing the little things. My lawyer noticed them all. By the end of that week, I was sneaking texts during meetings, a thrill I told myself was harmless. Each message was carefully worded, each reply timed, every detail meticulously hidden. I justified my actions with logic. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm just feeling alive again. It's emotional, not physical yet, but deep down, I knew I was walking on the edge of a cliff with my eyes wide open, hoping gravity wouldn't notice. The affair began subtly. Lunches that lasted an hour longer than they should have. Meetings conveniently extended. Casual touches brushed in the narrative of busy workdays. With every stolen moment, I felt the weight of guilt and exhilaration in equal measure. I would drive home afterward, stomach tight, rehearsing conversations in my mind as though a single misstep could unravel everything. And yet, I kept going, convinced that I was clever enough to stay invisible, that I could balance both worlds without consequence. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a Monday morning, gray and heavy with the kind of humidity that makes clothes cling and tempers fray. I arrived at work early, hoping to grab a moment alone with him before the flood of emails and meetings began. I barely noticed HR's assistant at first, standing awkwardly by the door with phone in hand. "Can I speak with you for a moment?" she said, her tone polite but firm. Something in her posture made my stomach twist. I followed her into a small, windowless office, the door clicking shut behind me. I thought it might be routine, a question about paperwork or timesheets. Instead, the words hit like ice water. "We have records of an inappropriate relationship between you and one of the lawyers here. This has been documented, and the company considers it a breach of policy." I froze. My mind scrambled. I had imagined this day 1,000 times. Maybe him confronting me. Maybe the thrill ending abruptly, but never like this. Never with HR, never so formal, so irreversible. "Wait," I managed, voice trembling. It's private. It's nothing like that." She shook her head, a small, professional sympathy in her eyes that did nothing to soothe the storm inside me. "The documentation speaks for itself. You'll need to speak with your husband if you want to explain." My heart dropped. That's when reality sank in. I had planned every detail of the affair, the texts, the meetings, the careful concealment. But I had underestimated one crucial factor, the permanence of exposure. The thrill of secrecy can turn into a trap the moment someone else holds the map. By the time I got home, my world had narrowed into a single, suffocating thought. Tom already knew. I didn't even have to knock. His presence in the living room, silent and still, spoke volumes. No anger, no raised voice, just a quietness that felt heavier than any storm I could have imagined. I tried to speak first, to offer excuses, to explain the reasons I had imagined were sufficient. It didn't mean anything. I was just... But he raised a hand, stopping me mid-sentence. His expression was unreadable, almost serene in its detachment. "We're done," he said, voice flat. "I'll have the papers ready tomorrow." It was surreal. No confrontation, no argument, no dramatic climax. Just the finality of words that needed no embellishment. I was left speechless, staring at the man I had promised to love, the man who had been the anchor of my life. now reducing our years together to a single chilling sentence. The next hours blurred. Calls to the lawyer, frantic messages, desperate attempts to salvage something, anything. None reached him. None reached me without the sting of exposure. The betrayal I had orchestrated for personal pleasure had backfired with surgical precision,